Did you know that when you first call DoorDash Dasher support, it's AI powered? But DoorDash didn't update. At first, I was like, what is this? It confused the crap out of me. Did this update just make it a little more easier? Let's find out. In today's video, we will go over what support was versus the new update. Did you know this about Dasher support? And what is my advice for talking to support? Okay, so we all have called support at some point. It's inevitable. I know a lot of us dread it just because you get a human on the phone and they still talk like they're AI powered because they are so scripted. It could be frustrating at times. It could definitely be frustrating even getting to talking to a human support person. But before you would call and like this computerized man would answer the phone and ask, what are you calling for? Are you calling as a Dasher? And then you would say yes. And then they would say, please tell me what you are calling for. And then you would say, talk to an agent. And then they would say, give me more details on what you're looking for. And then you would say, speak to an agent. And then they would go, give me more details on what you're looking for. It was a vicious cycle. It felt like it took forever just to get a real human on the phone. At least that's been my experience with support. Well, last night I had an issue while I was doing an order, and it was inevitable. I needed to call support. So I dial it and I'm waiting for the human man computer voice to come on, and it wasn't. It was a woman, and it actually sounded like a real person. It confused me. I'm like, huh? I'm like, I have DoorDash, right? Like, it made me look at the phone to make sure I'm dialing the right person. So a woman now is powering, I guess, the AI technology behind getting you to wherever you need to get to. What I find interesting is they ask you if you're a Dasher, same as before, and then they ask you, what do you need, basically? And I said, speak to an agent. And they said, okay, and connected me to an agent. There wasn't that whole back and forth and trying to figure out what do I need to tell this AI system to get to the right person. I just did it. It actually made it more streamlined and easier for me to get through to support. So that was definitely a bonus for me on my side. And I'm like, did DoorDash just step up their support game when it comes to Dashers? I hope so, because this version was a lot more pleasant to deal with than going through the, I'm going to call it a chat bot. I don't know what else to say. It was just a bot that sounded like a man or disguised as a man. I don't know how else to describe it, but it definitely wasn't human. So it actually was more pleasant, I have to say, because there was a little bit of sincerity and humanity behind it, even though you still knew it was AI generated. And then support came on and they handled my inquiry quickly, efficiently, and I was off the phone. I'm like, this wasn't such a bad call after all. So have you experienced this new voice yet on support? And if you have, was it easier for you to use? I'm wondering if people are having the same experience I did last night. So when I was thinking about talking about the new support system, it made me do a little research, and there were a lot of things that I did not know about support and the systems they use until I actually read up on it. So I figured if I didn't know, you might want to know too. So the systems are designed to automate and streamline assistance for like the root issues. And then they use it to improve the quality of human agent interactions. This is the part that I didn't know. You're going to have to let me know if you did. The AI voice support is built on Amazon's Bedrock. considering the other day when Amazon servers went down and all of a sudden DoorDash stopped working. It's interesting that it's all connected somehow, but DoorDash used Amazon's generative AI platform to create a new interactive voice response and a better experience for Dashers who actually call support. It actually is a win-win because it reduces agent transfers, and then the AI can also handle very common issues like cancellation, store closures, and this has actually led to a 49% reduction in the number of calls that actually go through to a human agent. If you really think about it, if they're using AI, they're cutting costs. If they don't need to, if they're reducing it by 49%, it's like 49% of the people that they can actually reduce on support end. Sorry, support, that kind of stinks for you. But in the end, I guess this is really cost effective for DoorDash to use, and it improves kind of everything all around. Better for Dashers to have better support, get the agents when you need to get to, have that human interaction when you need something bigger than just canceling an order. Support, you get less calls coming to you. I hate to say the stupid calls that they probably receive every single day that they're probably like, why is this Dasher calling me? They probably just get as frustrated as we do. And then DoorDash, I'm assuming it would cut costs for them in the long run by using this AI system. So I get asked a lot, what advice do I have for calling support? Because we all know it could be very frustrating. There could be a lot of barriers when talking to an agent that lacks in communication a lot of the time. And here is a couple of things that I do to make my experience better with them, and also some advice so you don't get yourself deactivated, because that could happen. First of all, I kill them with kindness. They're humans too. But because I kill them with kindness, I feel as though I will never get deactivated. And that really could happen. I've known Dashers who have gotten warnings, contract violations, and even deactivated because they have been rude, they've cursed out agents, they have been belligerent to them, and because of that, it gets themselves into trouble. So as frustrated as you are, I'm telling you, put a smile on your face, even though I know you don't want to and you want to curse somebody out. But they are not the people to do it, because you might not have a DoorDash account tomorrow if you do. With that being said, keep your frustrations to a minimum. Be short, sweet, and simple. The less you talk, the better off you are. If you do a lot of the talking, there might not have a resolution for you because you're trying to troubleshoot yourself, opposed to letting them troubleshoot the problem. I always am very to the point, so that way they can do what they need to do on their end to get me my resolutions. And I want them to come up with the solution, opposed to me thinking I know what the solutions are. But here's the thing. You also have to keep in mind, especially like the really big issues you might have, know that you might not get the answers you're looking for with the very first agent on DoorDash. Yes, they are all scripted. They are all trained to speak a certain way. They're all trained to have the same answer, so it's universal, and the same message goes across to all Dashers of everywhere. The key, though, is if you never get the answer you're looking for, try again and keep trying again until you get the solution you're looking for, an agent that can actually help you. Unless it's really big and for some reason they really can't help you. I feel as though anytime I've said, can I speak to a supervisor, I feel like they're like made up people that don't exist. Because I don't know about you, I get the speech, well, someone will call you within 24 to 48 hours, and you never get a phone call back. I feel like that's a waste of time. I would rather keep trying to get an agent that will help me. It might take more time, but eventually you will get what you're looking for, and hopefully that'll solve a lot of your problems. Lastly, they are scripted and are prompted to say the same things. I know I said this, but it's so true. All to all dashers. Because they can't play favoritism. They can't give you the wrong answer. They always have to give you the correct answers. And the best way for them to do it is by having scripts in front of you. The other day, it was during that whole day that DoorDash was up and down, and I went to go do a shop, and it says that I had already checked out and I was on my way to delivery, and I hadn't even scanned an item. When I had called support and explained everything, they were like, well, it's because you went too far in the app. And I said, sir, I don't mean to cut you off and I apologize, but I didn't even scan an item. So that would not be my fault. It's a system issue. And like, you can tell, like, he was trying to go through a script on troubleshooting something that was not the way it should have been troubleshooted. That's how you know someone is really doing a script when it comes to DoorDash support. So bottom line is keep your cool, be kind, state your problem, short, sweet, simple, and if you don't get your answer you're looking for, hang up and try a different agent until you get the solution you are looking for. So that's my word of advice in dealing with support. If you're on the old system where you still have that guy, there is no easy way of getting to a human besides telling them exactly what you're looking for to get you to a human. I found that's the best solution, opposed to keep saying, speak to an agent. And they're like, what are you looking for? Speak to an agent. What are you looking for? And you keep going around the same vicious cycle all over again. Hopefully this comes to more markets. It was a more pleasurable experience. It's a new update, at least I think it is, and we'll kind of see what happens from there. So let me know. What do you think of this new voice when you call support? And do you think it's going to be more easier to use going forward? And do you have any horror stories when it comes to support? I feel like we all have some kind of horror stories about this subject at some point. I do DoorDash videos almost every single day. If you're looking to binge watch the next one, you're going to want to check this one out next.